I'm Rebecca from the Glitch Stitchery. I'm here today with another dye video. This month we're focusing on food coloring, so this is going to be another food coloring based dye episode. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be dip dyeing 8-ounce braids of superwash merino, and I also have a couple skeins of merino tencel that we can use to sop up extra dye. We're going to be dip dyeing in food coloring based colors that tend to break. So they're going to be breaking into multiple different colors or shades of the different colors, and then we will just see how that comes out. So let me just do right here. We have 3 different ones that I want to focus on. So we're going to do one batch where it is the color right system, and then I have the blue and the black. I already added the blue. We're going to add the black to the water. I'm mixing these two together because the black already has a pretty heavy blue element to it, and when I dye with it, it does break sometimes. So I'm hoping that I can get an interesting kind of a fade from black to blue, but we'll see if that works. I also have just a few last packets of Ghoulaid, which is the Blackberry color. So this one has yellow 6, red 40, blue 1, and another version of yellow 6. I'm not sure why there's 2. Anyway, it has so many different colors in it, it does tend to break when I dye with it, and the results can be interesting. And finally, my favorite, and the last one we're going to do because it is my favorite, and that is the Wiltons Violet Icing color, and that tends to break into some really cool pink, blue, purple medleys. So I'm going to flip the camera around. I already have the pot started heating up for the first batch, and let's see how this goes. Alright, before we get started, I do know there's a lot of stuff on my fridge that you can see at this point. Mostly like little recipes that I write down while I'm working on stuff. I apologize for the clutteriness, but I honestly just don't feel like taking it down. So, 8 ounces of wool. This has both black and blue from the color right system in it. I have the heat pretty high, but not boiling. I have a pretty high amount of vinegar in there. I think it's like a 1/4 cup. And let me see, how much water? My pitcher holds 72 ounces. This has 2 of them in it. I am not good at measurements, so I forget how much that is in gallons. But it's you know, like 2/3 of the way full for my whole pan. All right, stock pot, I guess. Let's get started. It should be hot enough. It's hard when you first start dipping in because it floats. Let me just hold that in there a second so I can start. Okay, so then we have this for the color so far. Dip a little lower. And I just keep, since I have it in a braid, I just kind of look at it as 2 loops down. That's how I see how much farther I'm going each time. The braid also adds some really cool resists. I find blue tends to get like underneath and in between the braid. Let's hold it there for a second. Added too much dye to this. That's okay. It gets really heavy by the end. Alright, dip it in the rest of the way. I don't think we're going to get quite the dip dye look I was expecting, but that's okay. I'm going to let this sit for a few minutes, and then I will take it out and reset for the next color. Actually, I'm going to do one of the skeins of yarn in this one too, see if I can mop up a little bit of that extra dye before I have to dump it out. Let me set a timer on my watch for how long it's going to sit in there. Okay. This is the merino tencel. It's one of the last 2 skeins I had from Echoview. All of this stuff was from Echoview, and they sadly don't exist anymore. I'm going to be bummed out about that for a while. Alright, that's a little bit more what I was expecting. think I had too much black in it before. Now most of the black is mopped up by spinning fiber. That's okay. This is a fun way of doing things, but not necessarily the easiest for me to control. That's okay. Blue tends to strike last. And you'll probably see that with the other ones I have planned as well, because they all have a blue element. Alright, now I'm going to leave it alone for a bit. Alright, I have the water all reset. I have the Ghoulaid, Blackberry Ghoulaid added in. Just looking at the water, it looks really red. So I do think this will have a bit of a red tint to it. But yeah, it's been a while since I used this color. I only used one packet. This is 8 ounces of wool, so I'm not sure that'll be enough. But other than that, the water and the acid amounts are the same as the previous one. Alright, come on. It's really hard to get it to dip in. Yeah, I don't know if there's enough color in here. We'll see. This is a pretty normal shade for blueberry. Kind of like a dull grayish color with slight blue accents. I really thought this would be more red though. Oh, there it is. This is gonna honestly look a lot like the last one, I think. Which is surprising. I thought they'd be more different, but I guess you can only make black with food coloring so many ways. Alright, I think we got most of the dye out of there because I can see the bottom of the pot now, so I'm just gonna dip the rest of this in there and hopefully get any leftover blue out of there. That last little bit. Alright, again, I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes so it can come up to heat. And then I'm going to pull it and reset for the last one. Alright, last one for this project. So generally the Wiltons Violet tends to be one of those colors where a little goes a lot way. Tends to be one of those colors where a little goes a long way. So I'm going to do the 8-ounce braid and the skein of merino tencel at the same time. Hopefully I add enough dye to the pot, but I say that, and with this one I pretty much always end up adding too much. So let's see how this goes. Let's see. The skein is a little bit longer than the braids. I'm just adjusting it in my hand to try to get them to be lined up. There we go. I do this and it just ends up being the same. Oh no, yep, we already got some pink purple breakage, which is what I want. Good. Keep doing that. Weirdly, the skein is being more pink. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm gonna keep going. just one of those really cool colors. There's a few ink colors for fountain pens that kind of do that pink to blue to purple shift. I don't know, Sailor does a lot of them, and I kind of want to buy one because every time I do this I remember those inks, and they're quite a bit like this. So as you can see, the yarn is looking very pink while the fiber is looking very purple. I don't know why it's doing that. And again, dye work is more of a art than a science. You never really know exactly what you're going to get. You can control every variable and still end up with something completely random. Guess I'll just drop them in. I don't know that I'll get any variation on this at all. Whoa. Whoa. Ah, man. I don't know if I'll be able to show you this or not. The end is completely blue. That is so cool. Okay, so I'm gonna leave these in here and leave for the same amount of time I did all the other ones. Once these are all dry, I will just finish up and show you how they all came out. All right, hopefully you'll be able to hear me over the thunderstorm in the background and the neighbors stomping around upstairs. But these are dry enough now for me to finish this video, so I'm just gonna try to rush through this real quick. So this is the black food coloring and then a little bit of the blue added to it as well. So it did break, but not exactly the way I expected it to. It did on here more so, but you can sort of see how one side is more red toned and one side is less red toned. So it did break. Let me see if I can get this undone so you can see it a little better, because what tends to happen is the black is everywhere, but then the colors get kind of hidden a little bit in the folds. All right, so you see on this side how there's some of the like blackish grayish color and then a fair amount of blue and teal. And then as I go and open it up, you can see a little bit more red tones in the black. This will be really fun to spin. I'm looking forward to this. And then at the very end of it, there's a lot more red, like almost a burgundy color, in addition to the little spots of blue. So yeah, that actually came out pretty nicely. And this one is pretty dull because it was just to mop up whatever was left, but you can definitely see the split between the more red tones and the more blue tones. Oh, I really hope you can hear me over the thunder. All right, so let me put that aside. Now this one is the Blueberry. And this one I am very surprised by because every time I have used it prior to this time, oh, that was a big one. Every time I have used this prior to this time I did the dye work, it has broken a lot. And then this one time I actually want it to break on video, I end up with this like dove gray color. So that's interesting. And it's a good thing I'm not doing dye work today. The thunder is intense. All right, let's get this open. See if it broke at all. I mean, there's a little bit where you can see blue portions, but for the most part, it's just a gray. Not a bad gray, but it's not what I expected. I definitely thought this would break more than it did. In the past, I've gotten some pretty wild breaks between the red and blue, and that just didn't really happen this time. I'm not sure if it's because the packets are older or if it's because I only used one of them. Holy crap. Alright, I'm gonna have just one more to film and then I can turn all the lights off and hide from the thunder. Alright, last one. Wiltons Violet. By far my favorite food coloring of all time. I mean, even just on this one I used to mop up some of the color. Look at that. Look at the differences between the blues and the purples and the pinks. And look at how electric this is. So if I open this up, we get all these different shades of blue and purple and pink. And it's so pretty. The This will be an absolutely incredible yarn. All right, I think you can see that well enough. I'm just going to turn off the camera now, other than taking a few pictures. And that is probably it for today, because I can't really do much when it's thundering. But thank you so much for watching. I hope this was at least a little bit helpful, and I hope to see y'all again soon.